योगेन चितस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य तु वैद्यं केन योपाकरोत् प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिप्राणतोऽस्मि. So as we have been discussing that Ishvara Pranidhanat Va, which is very popular sutra. So people generally think, look, so Ishvara comes here. So why Ishvara comes, that they don't talk. So here when we were discussing in details that when this Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna is not ultimate, because of which there is no Tivra Samvega. So when there is no Tivra Samvega, this asampragyata samadhi will not be possible. So in order to have asampragyata samadhi, suppose there is lacking in this Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, and moreover, if the sadhaka is in Manda, Madhyama or Uttama, and again Manda, Madhyama, Uttama divided into three categories, as we have discussed, becomes 9 categories. There the Ishvara comes to the picture. That's why Ishvara Pranidhanat Ba. So bringing Ishvara in life. As we have discussed in details when Ishvara concept came. So in the last class we were talking that is called Ishvaraha. So who is Ishvaraha? So Ishvaraha basically is not just Pradhana and Purushaha, but here is called Vishesha Purushaha, that we have discussed very carefully. So this Visheshatvam, the speciality was being supported in the beginning, that Klesa, Karma, Sutra number 24, Klesa, Karma, Vipaka, Asaya. So these 4 things were very much highlighted. So that means when it talks about Klesha, as you know, there are 5 types of Kleshas. Starts with Avidya, which will be seeing in one verse, all these things in details, one sutra will come. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha and Abhinivesa. So these are 5 klesha that gives pain, that creates pain. And interestingly, second thing comes karma. So when it talks about karma, karma is divided into 2 categories. One is dharma, other one is adharma. Because karma cannot be defined as karma unless we bring dharma. So however, here when it talks about, then automatically karma means comes karma phala. So karma phala is being highlighted here in the form of vipaka. So that means this is phala bhoga. So once you start coming across phalam, enjoying or experiencing the result of action, automatically comes vasana, comes samskara. It's like even if you eat with the spoon, remember, So you may think that by eating spoon, still remember the fragrance will remain in your nose. That's why internally. So whatever you touch, that fragrance continues. Just joke apart. So vasana is a part of the impression or samskara, or in a simple way called vasana is must when there is a karma phala, or when the karta goes through the karma phala. And this vasana was being called as asaya. So that means if we look at all these things, now that Vishesha Purusha, this is the speciality of this Purusha. Also, we'll see next sutra what is Vishesham. Much more. Aparamrushtaha. So, a common Purusha is always touched is by affected all these five things. Sorry, four things. Klesha, karma, vipaka, asaya. So, when a common person is being affected, a common jiva is being affected by, a jiva is affected by these four things. That time this Purusha, who is Vishesha, this is the speciality, this is the uniqueness that is aparamrushta, not touched by it, untouched, unaffected by it. That's why we have lot of verses, lot of sources that talks the concept of Ishvara. So Ishvara is not just imagination, imaginary things, like what I cannot imagine, what I cannot think, make me Ishvara, may put it as Ishvara. It's like I remember in our childhood, the impact of this atrocity of Britishers were there. So because the atrocity, the impact of Britishers, especially police people were there. So in our childhood, if a child cries or does something notorious things, so parents and everybody will start threatening, you know what, police will come to catch you. So the fear of police was created in such a way that you cannot imagine. But nowadays, if you say police, they will say, where is police? Where is police uncle? I want to meet you, okay? Present generation, okay? But if you want to threaten police, present generation, tell that, look, I will take away phone from you. Or you can say, look, there is darkness. I will put you in darkness, okay? Without phone. But if you say darkness, nobody is there. With phone, the child will enjoy like anything, you understand? So, can you see how the things are changing? So, the object of fear becomes imaginary, whatever is there predominant psychologically that time. And it keeps changing. So, how this can happen? Same thing also the concept of God. That is how all the religious people, all sort of religion. So here is not imagination, is not imaginary concept of Ishvara, which is not reachable, which is not questionable. It's not like that. That's why few sutras goes to support that whatever we are talking is not illogical, number one. And secondly, also we make it very clear that whatever Shastra talks always has its standpoint, and also because being pramana, it never goes out of the way. However, we also discussed very carefully Ishvara, who was free from three types of bandhas. One is called Prakutika bandha. So in that Prakutika bandha, because the person is being bound by the Prakritis, and that is what it happens. And second one was called Vaikarika bandha, because there is vikara with reference to raga and dvesha. When we come across different type of sense objects, sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha, adi, any sense objects we come across. So there is some raga, there is some dvesha. So because of this raga and dvesha, raga means liking, dvesha means disliking. So this because of raga and dvesha, there is some type of vikara, there is some type of modification in the jiva. So this modification creates bondage. So this modification based bondage is called vaikarika bandha, and the final was called dakshina bandha. So dakshina bandha means that is completely psychological. That I am born to a family, I am a grihastha, I am a brahmachari, I am a sannyasi, I am a man, I am a woman. I belong to this sutra, I belong to this Veda. So I have a certain do's and don'ts. So when I have certain do's and don'ts, and that is to be done this way. So whether I like it or not, on Amavasya day, I have to do Tarpanam. There is no choice for me. So when I have to do Tarpanam on Amavasya day, so that means there is some things to be done. And also I have to give Dakshina. I have to do this karma. I don't have to do that karma. So that means there are a series of numbers of do's and don'ts. So when I am bound, as we gave the example, when I am not able to do, I cannot sleep either. I cannot be happy either. So this number of do's and don'ts put together also bounds us. That is called Dakshina Bandha. Whereas this Ishvara is free from all this. When we look at this thing, please understand. Sometimes we do look at little differently. That especially when you look at a Mukta Purusha, so the one who is free, because Ishvara Mukta Purusha, because nowadays every guru or every Mukta Purusha is called as Ishvara, even though there is Ishvara Amsa. So even though the Amsa means the portion of Ishvara is there, no doubt it, which will be seeing this point little carefully. That when we look at especially this Mukta Purusha, now Mukta Purusha has got Prakrutika Bandha. So Prakrutika Bandha means that elements starting with the object on manifestation. So this elements is there. So the person is going through this Prakrutika Bandha. There is no doubt in it. Okay, definitely Vaikarika Bandha need not be there, not supposed to be there. For Mukta Purusha, Vaikarika Bandha is not there, but Prakrutika Bandha has to be there. Whereas for Prakriti Layanam, so we have seen in details, those who goes through this Prakriti Layam, for them there is no what? There is no Prakrutika Bandha. But Dakshina Bandha might be there. That's why all demigods, if you observe, all these gods, what we call Indra and others, they have Dakshina Bandha. So they are bound. It's like, if you give the oblation to the God has to appear. God cannot say, no, sorry, I cannot appear. Can God say? Try. When you invoke the deity has to appear. Deity is helpless. Not only deity will appear, deity also before leaving has to bless. Whether you are in a position to take blessing or not is your problem, okay? But a deity has to bless. What you will ask, what you will not ask, that is another thing. Like, this brother of Ravana, Kumbhakarna, you understand? So how the tongue got twisted, because we say that Saraswati stood literally on the tongue of this fellow. So that's why he twisted it. So, okay. So I want to sleep all the time. Okay, thank you. So that is a different thing altogether. What I'm highlighting here is that's why we say Ishwaraha is something to be understood. So this is Sutra what we see in Patanjali. Actually, in Yoga Yagya Valkya, this particular thing is being discussed. So that's why all these things to be studied before. So it says very nicely, same sutra as it is being put here, you can say. It was there, it has been put. Klesha karma vipakadeyi vasanavi tatheva cha अपरामृष्टम एवाह purusham hi ishwaram shruti. So this Shruti indeed highlights this is called Ishwaraha and that is called Purusham. And who? Aparamrishta evaiha, the one who is untouched by all these things. And what are they? Karma, vipaka, vipakadehi, vipaka adi, vasanahavihi, also vasanas, the impressions, which is being called here as asaya. So that means when we look at these aspects, so we understand this Purusha here is not ordinary. And what is that speciality? How do you say? So this sutra continues. Let us read the sutra. Tatra niratishayam sarvajñam bijam. He says beautifully that here Ishwaraha, the Tatra, there, so that Ishwara that is being discussed under discussion, first of all is Niratishayam. So that means there is no better. It cannot be improved. What we call as ultimate. At the same time, it is Sarvajña. So that Sarvajñatvam, this of this Purusha is ultimate. There is no parallel to it. There is no two people. There are no two people. There are no two things. Because, and he says Sarvajña Bijam iti. Also, some places it's being said Sarvajña Bijam. Okay, these two versions are there. Somewhere it is Sarvajña. This I think your text will be Sarvajña Bijam. So some other sutra also talks Sarvajña iti. However, so here is being highlighted Sarvajña Bijam. So Bijam means the seed, the parakashta. So that means there is no better. Why this thing we need to really look at very carefully? Means if we try to see, as we say, a Jnani is also Sarvajña, knower of everything. So Sarvajña means Sarvam Janatiti. Gya plus ka becomes Gya. So that means Janatiti Gya. So the one who knows everything. So a Jnani Purusha also knower of everything. But there is a problem. So when a Jnani Purusha is Sarvajña, so that Sarvajñata is what? That we say that is in general. Because please understand, what is Sarvajñata Bijam? The seed of all knowing. We call as Atindriya Jnanam. So Atindriya Jnanam means, remember this point very carefully. Generally, the knowledge comes through the Indriyas. the knowledge that we rely upon. Always comes through indriyas, in indriya means sense organs. But what could be the seed of knowledge? Because if everything is based on indriya sense organs, what about anumana as a pramana? The inference becomes pramana. Through inference, we also know many things or not. In fact, all the investigation, all crucial things only happens through that. You understand? They guess. From guessing, they try to go round, round, round. Finally, they arrive at truth. So, how does it happen? That means that is beyond our sense organs. So, this beyond the knowledge that comes not directly for sense organs, but beyond sense organs becomes the seed of knowledge, number one. And here it's being highlighted that Ishvaraha, that Sarvajñatvam, that being Sarvajña, is not that Ishvara is Sarvajña like Mukta Purusha, Jnani Purusha, the one who knows in general, but here he who knows in details. Because, please understand, a Jnani Purusha can say that the knowing the pot, that which is made up of clay, can say that look, whole pot world is clay world. Nothing much to think, nothing much to know. And also it is a temporary. If not today, this is language, if not today, tomorrow is going to be destroyed. This is called in general, samanya jnanam, samanyatah, but vishesha rupena, in speciality, in specific, the wise cannot say on which date this pot is going to collapse. You understand the concept? And how it is going to collapse, or how it is going to fall down, or how it is going to be destroyed. Whereas the one who has got all the knowledge, both samanya jnanam and vishesha jnanam, that is called Ishvara. And interestingly, remember, when this samanya jnanam, please understand, samanya jnanam is not going to talk about your omniscience, is not going to highlight at all. The only Vishesha Jnanam will highlight your Sarvajñatvam. So the one who knows in details, that's why we say very nicely about Ishvaraha. In fact, these are the things being highlighted very nicely. That Sarvajñatah Truptihi Anadibodhaha, the one who knows in details, and at the same time the person Trupti is satisfied with knowing the Anadi, the beginningless, and at the same time Swatantra, independent, and Nitya Alupta Shakti, the person who has got power which is not touched by anything, not contaminated by anything. And what sort of Shakti power? Ananta Shakti. The Shakti is endless, uncountable. And of course, Vibhoho, the one who is Vibhu, whose grace is there. And Vidhijñāha, this is the beautiful point to be understood. Vidhijñāha. So when you say Vidhijñāha, what is Vidhi? In fact, today morning I was writing this article. Generally, we do karma. Karma comes to us in the form of karma phala. And how that karma phala comes to us? So this has to be ordained, this has to be regulated. When to come? Whether today come, tomorrow come. Sometimes it comes in this life, sometimes next life, sometimes God knows when it comes. You understand? If not today, tomorrow has to come. How it is being regulated, how it is being ordained. So this regulation or ordinance that is being passed through a system, that is called vidhi. And that vidhi we do not know. That is what we call, this, what is being written here, okay? You understand? We put the blame on this poor fellow, okay? Forehead. Whatever vidhi has written. Because in colloquial language, you will have either vidhi or relevant to the vidhi. So here he says, we say very carefully. There is a beautiful saying. In Odia, we had a beautiful saying. There are few things even if Brahma does not know. So that's why Brahma is presented as vidhi. If you say Brahma is vidhi, Brahmaji, okay? If it is vidhi, then how come he doesn't know these are the few things? And what are they? I'm sorry to say, this is a very funny thing, but I must share, okay? Okay, differently they say. Very bad way. First thing they'll say, how this, what do you call, flood will go. The movement of the flood, okay? The direction of the flood, Brahma does not know. Because in Odia they will put it, okay? Nari Maya Badhi Pani, Brahma Naparile Jani. Not bad, I'm able to recollect that on Odia colloquial, okay? So I hope you understand. Already I spoke, okay? Badhi Pani means the flood, okay? The moment, the direction of the flood. Even if Brahma could not know, okay? And other one is Nari Maya. That is what they will say. Mind of the Nari, okay? That is what they will say. But apart from this, say, the movement of the fire also they add. When there is a fire in the forest or wherever, how it will move, where it will move, also they say Brahma will not be able to know. All these colloquial expressions. What in short is being highlighted, please understand. This way of functioning, when this result is going to come to which jiva, that is called vidhi. And the one who is the knower of this process of getting unfolded all the karmas is called Ishvaraha. Isn't it clear? That's why we put it as Ishvaraha Karma Phaladata. In Upadesha Saram, we saw it what? Karturagya prapyate phalam karma kimparam karmata jadam ishwararpitam nechaya krutam. Do you remember this or not? long back, okay? You can say, Swamiji, we are graduated. This Upadesha Sara and all these things, please don't bring back, okay? So good. So, kartuhu agya prapyate phalam. So here is karta, the Ishvaraha agya. Only the phalam comes to us. So this is what is called vidhigyaha. So this is to be really understood very carefully. And he says, look, this is called Maheshwaras Angas. So this is the Ishwaras Anga, limb, means Ishwara has to be there. And in some other places being said, all these things should be in full form completely. What is that? Jnanam, Niratisaya Jnanam, Niratisaya Vairagyam. Jnana means knowledge. Vairagya means dispassion. Aishwaryam, lordship. Tapaha, austerity. Satyam, truth. Kshamaha, forgiveness. Dhruti, thinking, memory. And also Atma Sambodha. Atma Sambodha means the relationship with one's own self, Jnanam of one's own self. Ultimate. And also Adhishtatruhu. The person is the Adhishthanam of everything. The one who abhyayani and also abhyaya, imperishable. These are the qualities are with Ishvaraha. So what is being highlighted in short is that the Ishvaraha only one. There cannot be two Ishvara. Because if there are two Ishvaras, each one will contradict the other. And we'll get into a lot of issues, because in fact on this we have got a lot of discussions which we have discussed in different occasions. Here that's why, because the conveniently Shastra highlights only one Ishvara, that's why every religion picks up this idea, one God. And that God is my God, okay? This is the problem. Hey, Shastra says only one God. Whether it's your God or my God makes no difference. One has to one God. It's not one dog, okay? If you say one dog, I understand it's my dog, okay? So there is a road, only in road only one dog can go. What will you say? Only my dog can go. You understand? So like that, all these religious people holding their God as dog, say that only my God prevails. That's why what they do is like, no, you have to listen to their prayers in the loudspeaker. For what? Imposing their things on us, which is not acceptable anymore. However, I am just talking a little bit differently, okay? Because I love nowadays, okay? Earlier I was keeping quiet, but nowadays, okay, who cares? However, coming to the point, here, when we see that Ishvara is one, what does it mean? The one thing that is exists is only Ishvara. Can you see this point? It is not Ishvara, one Ishvara plus. Religious people highlight one Ishvara plus. Whether it is Christianity or Islam, these two you can look at. In Islam, they will say one Ishvara, one God, plus what? Devil. Can you see this point? One God plus devil. So devil is parallelly there. If you come to here, Islam, one Khuda, one Allah, then you need to throw stones to ward off evil. So everywhere, one Ishvara plus. But remember, here when we talk about one Ishvara, means one. That oneness, only one exists. That is Ishvara, that is oneness. So never ever put Ishvara plus. Unless you are from Tamil Nadu, okay? Because why I say, unless you are from Tamil Nadu, Tamil Nadu is the only state in India. If you say India, after India, suppose India, after that I cannot say Uttarakhand, okay? Once I say India, is done. But only Tamil Nadu fellows, when they are in overseas, they will make sure, we are from India and Tamil Nadu. That special identity, you understand? Some identity crisis, I would rather say, okay? Because they never feel that they belong to India, okay? But they want to enjoy being Indian passport, okay? Unfortunately, all these guys are from Tamil Nadu. They must think, Swamiji, please don't scold us publicly, okay? And especially this sort of talks, God knows, after 20 years, 30 years or 50 years, it will be playing. It doesn't look nice. Swamiji, please at least remove this sort of talks, okay? Or when the control will come to our hand, definitely we are going to remove it, okay? And we'll say, Swamiji doesn't want to be controversial. We don't want him to be controversial. Joke apart. So, one Ishvara plus never exists. Either oneness, that is Ishvara, or you can use the word Ishvara. That is what is being highlighted, Niratisayatvam. So the ultimate is being given here. So that means if Sarvagya, the knower, that which cannot be surpassed, or there cannot be second Sarvagyatum, there is only one Sarvagya is existing. When we say, pure, that's why you can see nowadays advertisement, earlier they will say, this purity, 100% pure. Now do they say 100% pure? 99 bacteria free, 99.99, okay, bacteria free. So that means there is some issue. You understand what I am trying to say? Whereas when you say pure, that means what? There is no second thing exist. So also, when we use the word Sarvagyatum here in this context, Niratisayatvam, Niratisaya Sarvagya, that means there is no second thing exist. And that Ishvara is what? Definitely, which highlights also omnipresence. This is the link. Because if there is only one thing exist, that is called Ishvara. That means that Ishvara has to be what? Jagat Karana. Sarvajñatva highlights, please understand. Sarvajñatvam highlights efficient cause, upadana karana of this is Jagata, this universe. Whereas Niratisaya Sarvajñatvam highlights upadana karanam also. Is it clear? Technically. Because being upadana, material cause of this universe, because there is no second thing exist. That's why Ishvara becomes what here? Not only omniscience, also omnipresent. So this omnipresence, omniscience or omniscient later on becomes. Then finally comes omnipotence. Because wherever there is jnana, wherever there is knowledge, there is power. Because the knowledge and power goes together. So if you have little knowledge, little power. If you have more knowledge, more power. Have you not observed? So that's why here is being said, and if you are presence, your presence also is power. That's why every regional party wants to make themselves as a national party. They want to make their presence everywhere. You understand? Because presence itself is power. Now, because of omnipresence and omniscience, becomes omnipotent. And when this is being discussed, now question will arise. What is that God again? I understand all these things, but sometimes I really don't understand how to deal with, how to look at that. Very nicely, one sutra comes that is being related as being the knowledge, brings very nicely and carefully. Ishvara is related to the Guru. So let us read this sutra. Sa purvesham api guruhu kalena anavachhedat. Okay, if we try to look at this particular sutra, here again all these new age gurus or popular translations mix mess. So I am going through the popular translation, then we will come to the real translation, so that you should understand where things go wrong and how it is very convenient. Generally, all these popular translation or new age fellows, Swayambhu, self-made. They don't want to associate themselves with a guru because they are so egoist. Because that person doesn't want to associate with the guru because of ego, nothing else. That's why all these rebellious people try to project themselves independent. It is like, you might have seen in your teenage time, because I have seen myself, okay, that's why I can share it very carefully. In teenage time, when this ego becomes stronger, so you want to put your hand in your father's pocket, but announce the world, I am independent. You want father's money, but not governed by him. Have you not observed that? Because your ego is budding up, okay? You want his money, but not his commandment. So how that happens? There are people who life they do that. And they are nowadays more popular gurus. So one of the translation I can say very nicely, Saha, but I am going word by word, but don't look at this, okay? Saha, he, Purvesham. Purvesham means of the ancient. Api, even guru, teacher, Kalena by time, Anavachetat, on account of not being limited or conditioned. So in short, being unconditioned by time, he is the teacher even of the ancients. What do you understand? So he becomes the teacher of who are ancients. I was going through who are ancients. Ancients of, starting with Manus, Buddhas. Where Buddha come from? Yeah, why can't you tell that who is the teacher of the teachers? And the flow is unbroken, anavichat. The teaching tradition continues. Because that only will highlight that sarvajñatvam. So being the teacher of the teachers. And the tradition is continuing, flowing. And that is Ishvara. That's why we say, who is our first father? Also, who is happens to be the first teacher. If anybody asks the question, who is your first teacher? Ask me, tell me, who is your first father? If your existence is because of your father, please let me know who is your first father. If you cannot say, but let me tell you, who is first teacher also is first father. Both are one answer. So that's why here is being highlighted very nicely. Purvesham api guruhu kalena anavachchedat purbehi guravah kalena anachedyanti iti. So the teacher of the former teachers. And not only that, because with that Ishvaraha, there is no limitation whatsoever. Kalena anachyedat means there is no limitation by time. Because of what? Because that of this omnipotence. So this omnipotence, that God is omnipotent, is being highlighted in this sutra. Is it clear? In the previous sutra, Sarvajña, Niratisaya Sarvajña highlighted both concept of what? That being omniscience and omnipresence. Now in this sutra, omnipotence is being taught. And nothing much in this sutra to be really discussed much. So in short, being the part of the teaching here and having all sort of power In every creation, every cycle of this creation, he is presenting as a teacher. Not only he was the teacher or he is the teacher of former teachers, also he is the teacher. That's why whenever we do our prayer, we do recollect our teaching tradition. Whether I belong to Shankara tradition, or I belong to Ramanujacharya tradition, or I belong to Madhvacharya tradition. So any Acharya, if you observe, some changes they will bring here and there. Somebody will say Shankaracharya, somebody will say Narayana. Narayanam Samarambham. Small changes here and there they will make it. But if you look at any traditional teaching, always Ishvara will come. But when it comes to New Age, either no Guru or only immediate Guru as Ishvara. You understand the concept? Only, that's why one has to be very careful. Very nice point I am highlighting here. Where you come across, where either no Guru or your immediate Guru becomes Ishvara, that means there is no tradition. There is no traditional teaching. Is it clear? More of it we'll see later on. Please. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.